Good morning, everyone. We are delighted to be here again for the third and the final part of our Exceeding Visitor Expectations series, brought to you, of course, online and in partnership with ASA, Visit Scotland, and our wonderful trainer, Catherine Bowie. The content of today, it's really taken from the already successful EVE training course, but coupled in with some really practical advice for us all to think about what operating a visitor attraction in a post-COVID-19 world will look like. I am Angie Fowler, a Regional Quality and Tourism Manager from Visit Scotland. I work right alongside our team of Quality and Tourism Advisors who deploy the Visit Scotland Quality Assurance Grading Scheme for attractions across Scotland. I just want to thank you all for those who've joined us over the past 2 weeks. These webinars are all being recorded, so if you do want to pass it on to any of your colleagues, or if you've not been able to catch all three, do listen in afterwards, and they're all available on the VisitScotland.org website. The webinar today, it's been made available to all ASA and ALVA members, and you're all very welcome. We really do recognise this is a really difficult time for the industry. And we want you all to know that we're working really hard together. There's still a lot of work to be done to safeguard the future of the industry. And we will do our best to share all advice and information that we can when we can. We don't have all the answers and we can't tell you what will be best for your particular business, but we will continue to be sharing government policy and guidelines, meaningful advice, all when available. And of course, we're all waiting to hear perhaps more details of reopening plans from the First Minister today. That's Thursday, 21st of May. So let's watch this space. And once our businesses do start opening up, we'll continue to find ways to share best practice and help support you, and we'll help to make meaningful connections within the industry. Actually, at Visit Scotland, we've been having some great conversations with attractions over the past week or so about maybe their thoughts for future plans. And I just want to give you all a bit of encouragement as you look forward and are thinking and planning about what the future will look like for your attraction. We might not get it right first time, but when we're thinking about what opening our doors might look like and making wise and intentional changes, we can find ways of capturing real-time feedback from visitors and team members and change and adapt as needed until we find something which works well for us and which we can settle on. And I know that capturing visitor feedback is something that will be mentioned in today's webinar. There will definitely be trial and error involved, I'm sure, but also some real success stories which we can't wait to shout about and share with everyone so we can all learn together. All right, so on to the course content. Just as before, we envisage the presentation itself taking around 30 minutes, but then we'll have time for questions at the end. Questions to Catherine Bowie, our trainer, me at Visit Scotland, and also on the call again we have Gordon Morrison, the Chief Executive of ASVA, who is online today to answer anything that you might want to put to him. Do feel free to type questions as we go. You'll see the questions tab in the control panel that you've got on GoToWebinar. It's if the top orange red arrow on your panel is pointing left, just click it once and the full panel will appear and you can type your questions there for us. Yeah, so we'll head on to the webinar, and I do wonder if any of you have been to a live EVE training course before. This webinar today, or this section, was actually my favorite. It's all about dealing with complaints and tricky situations, and I found that Catherine provided a really refreshing take on all of this in a world actually where, let's face it, the customer is not always right. And Catherine's mantra was your house, your rules, and it provoked some really great conversations and examples through storytelling around the table. So I hope that you're able to take a lot from it today. So I'll pass over to Catherine and we can get stuck in. She'll start by giving us a short overview of the themes that she'll address today, and then we'll gather back for the questions afterwards. Thank you, Catherine.
A warm welcome and good morning to the third session of our series, Exceeding Visitor Expectations. My name is Catherine Bowie and I'm pleased to bring this session to you online. We're going to talk today about engaging in and inspiring visitors and also dealing with complaints and trickier situations. In the previous sessions, we've discussed how we can communicate with our visitors, how we can engage with them throughout the service journey, and also how to communicate our messages in a really effective and positive way. Visitors will expect us to be the experts on the attraction wherever you work. They'll assume you have brilliant product knowledge and know all about the aspects of every part of the attraction and your current offers, which we discussed in the first session. Now, many of your visitors are likely to be spending a period of time in the local area. In fact, we discussed that many of our visitors in this coming season will be from the local area. So very important that we know exactly what's available and keep up to date with who's opening and who's offering what in these changing times, in this new normal, as we keep referring to. As we're working from home then, it's a great time to research and work out what is going to be going on and to really make our product knowledge as robust as possible. Things to check then will be admission prices. Are we charging the same? Will we be a scaled down operation? Opening and closing times, what will they be like? Are we going to open longer hours to accommodate smaller groups? Or in fact, are we going to open shorter times? What will be the layout of the whole site and the building and the routes? What's the best way to come round? Remember, for people with disabilities as well, we'll have to think about access and the way to make things as easy as possible for our visitors to have a great time. Will your routes change? For example, will you do this one-way system, and will you have people at the beginning of each route and members of the team at the end of each route, just to make sure that everything is being marshalled correctly? The key elements of the attraction, again, to highlight what is open, what people can see, and to have very robust product knowledge on these things, so that in light of the fact that some of the attractions and some of the rooms may be closed, that you're really highlighting and maximising the opportunities of the key elements of your attraction. Food and drink is a whole different ballgame at the moment. We're not quite sure what's happening yet. It doesn't look like we'll be able to offer very much. So will people be able to bring in picnics? Do you provide rooms for that? If so, how are you going to monitor social distancing? Will people be able to bring drinks in? All of that will have to be considered as part of the service journey. The shop stock as well, get to know what's in the stock room, get to know what people will be looking for and what can be handled and what can't be handled. Some of the supermarkets have been very strict that if you pick something up, you've got to buy it, you can't handle something and put it back down. So maybe that we put things behind counters again. Today's activities, what kind of things will you be putting on? Interactive sessions for children, for example, or for family groups. Are there any special events? And will they be online? And how will you market them? And this is a really good time for you to promote membership or loyalty schemes. Remember, you're working with your locals, you're working with people who perhaps haven't had the time or the inclination to come to your attraction before because they've been tempted by travelling further afield. So a really good time to think about what you can do to keep them as brand ambassadors for you, and perhaps to give them some special offers to entice them to those membership or to loyalty schemes. So having recognised that our new market will be people from our area, they will be coming to us for our expertise. So this is a great time for you to establish and re-establish your local knowledge and to create, again, a new folder perhaps with what is going on in the area, what public transport services are operating, What are the car parking facilities available if parking is not provided on site? Some car parks are closed. Again, recognising what are the key attractions in your area and what are their opening times, how you can work cleverly with them to coordinate activities. Key shops, and let's try and keep it as local as possible. Let's try and keep it as independent as possible. Where can we eat and drink? Local parks and gardens, local trails, local nature reserves. What are the places that are open for our business that our visitors will really appreciate that you know? And it could be the little hidden gems, the little quieter places perhaps that people haven't considered before. So loads of information online about this. And again, if I were you as an attraction, I would completely redo my local knowledge folder and check out who's doing what, so that when we open our doors, our visitors then, we can stun them with our local knowledge and our real variety of things to see and do that perhaps they hadn't considered previously. So exceeding visitor expectations is all about really stimulating the visitor, making it interesting by painting a picture. From all these hours in lockdown, I reckon that people will be so excited about getting out and about and being stimulated by what you've got to offer them. So bring your attraction to life. Tell stories. Tell authentic stories. That's what visitors like. That's what creates memories. Include human interest elements. And don't assume that visitors have a particular interest or specialist knowledge. Keep them engaged, help them to learn, but don't present a series of dull facts or a list of historical figures. And if you don't know, don't guess. Offer to find out or tell visitors how they can find out more. So again, consider what can you personally do to make the visitor experience at your attraction more engaging, remembering that we have got these social distancing guidance lines. So we'll be standing further away from them. We probably will be wearing masks. So it's going to be even more vital that we engage with them by using descriptive language, great folklore stories, and excite them about what you can create and what you've got to offer in the attraction. In many customer service settings, staff wait for customers to approach them. At an attraction, it is important to be more proactive. Acknowledge visitors you meet with a greeting or a smile. Watch for what's happening around you. Observe. If appropriate, move towards the visitors rather than waiting for them to come around you, or move from around your desk to go and accommodate them. Always be on the lookout to open up an opportunity to start a conversation about something relevant, and ask them questions, open questions, offer relevant information about what's happening today or what there is to particularly focus on within the attraction today. Approach anyone who looks lost or confused and offer help. It's really important for us to listen to cues, but also to look for clues. When talking to family group, address remarks to the kids as well as the adults, and always be prepared to stop other work to talk to visitors, even if only briefly. They come first. Your merchandising, whatever you can do, can always come later. Now, part of the Visit Scotland accreditation arrangements are that we're looking always for characteristics of this 5-star hospitality and friendliness. So the Visit Scotland Quality Tourism Advisor will look for examples of a genuine, warm and friendly welcome, much more than just a smile and eye contact. So it'll be that approachability, it'll be that energy, it'll be that look like you want to be here and that you're demonstrating that in your communication. We'll also be looking for examples of empathy shown towards visitor in a personalised conversation. Empathy shown, it could be something as opening a door for them, or offering them a mask, or offering them the sanitizing gel, or asking how they've been in this lockdown period, and personalizing that conversation so that you are reflecting back the content of it and letting that visitor know that you're truly and properly listening to them. And the third thing, that the characteristic of 5-star hospitality and friendliness, will be a positive concluding statement at the end of the transaction. So enjoy your stay. Let us know if we can help. Please come back to me if you've got any feedback. If you're heading off somewhere else, would you like me to give you directions? Where are you heading to now? Would you like me to give you some recommendations? The lists are endless, very importantly, because they link into the lasting impression. And remember, our visitors leave our doors. We want them to create positive, lasting impressions, because that's when they go online, that's when they use social media. As part of being a service professional, we have to deal with visitor dissatisfaction. Many of today's visitors have little patience when something isn't right or does not meet their expectations. They may therefore complain or start making demands. Many people are reluctant to wait patiently when there are delays or queues and are quick to criticise if something doesn't work or a mistake is made. When things go wrong, visitors may react aggressively as their emotions take over. When you deal with difficult situations, you need to remain in control and calm and continue to act professionally, even if a visitor is being rude or difficult. However, many dissatisfied visitors still do not complain, although they may take their business elsewhere in future. They may also tell their family, their friends and colleagues about their experience. If they use social media, this can happen within seconds. So part of your planning process here, consider in your teams, envisage what will be the pinch points in your new service journey. What will be the issues that you reckon people could be dissatisfied with? And try and combat that by putting some kind of coping mechanism or some kind of training plan in place so that you are ready to deal with these situations and create what I like to call COSA, C-O-A-C-O-S-A. So a compromise, an option, a solution, or an alternative. When dealing with a complaint, it's very useful to have some kind of strategy, and exceeding visitor expectations uses the learner model. Now, this has been tried and tested. It's an old school complaints handling system, and it's not bulletproof. None of these things are bulletproof because visitors can be tricky. However, this gives you the best chance to stay calm and remain professional and come up with something that will work, a win-win situation, which is ultimately what we're looking for. So a visitor, first of all, will want you to listen to the complaint. And when we talk about listening, we talk about properly listening, that active listening, that not interrupting, that total engagement, taking notes, and then empathizing, not saying things like, I'm really sorry about that, but I understand that you've had a long wait. I recognize that this situation hasn't been ideal. Acknowledge and apologize. Please accept our apologies for the delay. Please accept our apologies for the hiccup in service this morning. And wherever possible, remedy, rectify, report, record. Every complaint, no matter how flippant, no matter how small they may appear to you, it's a call for action. A call for action, and sometimes it's the little things that can make a massive difference here. Remember, even in a tricky situation, we can still exceed visitor expectations by turning around and salvaging that situation. So letting the visitor know what you've done to remedy, to record, to rectify, to report it, and now check back. How does that seem for you? Is there anything else I can help you with? Particularly with recurrent complaints, and particularly as we open our doors for this new normal, exchange feedback with your colleagues. That's going to be really, really important, because things will be creeping up that we won't have thought of. And this will be an opportunity for you to tweak the service journey and to perfect it and listen to customer feedback. Never has it been more important to listen to that feedback, exchange it, and reflect. In fact, if I were you, I would be doing this on a daily basis. I would be doing a debrief after each service section to say, okay, what went right today? What will we continue to do? And what did not go so well today? And what can we put in place to fix that for tomorrow? This will be a learning journey for us as well as for our visitors. So never has it been more important to exchange that feedback, to reflect, and then to rethink what we can do to overcome that little barrier that's been put in our way. Throughout these sessions, we've discussed the importance of knowing what our changes are going to look like and what our new attractions policies are going to be like. That's very important. So we're going to handle these complaints properly. we have to have robust product knowledge on your procedures. Always use opportunities to turn negatives into positives wherever possible. If you can resolve a difficult situation to visitor satisfaction, you can create a loyal ambassador for your attraction. So don't make matters worse. When something goes wrong, don't make matters worse and compound the problem by implying that the visitor is at fault, or blaming other visitors, or blaming a colleague, or denying there is a problem, or saying it's not my fault, or criticising the attraction or the management, or taking the complaint personally, or acting defensively, or making remarks like, oh, people are always complaining about that, or, oh, we've been asking for that to be fixed for ages. Because none of these are helpful. These are not helpful, constructive conversations. The aim of dealing with a complaint is turning it around and creating a constructive conversation that will result in a win-win situation. It might not be perfect, it might not be ideal, but the very fact that you look as if you're trying to fix this for the visitor will turn it around and you can create a great experience. Please ensure, though, that you're reading the body language of the visitors. You can often see if there's a problem and can then intervene immediately. Or if you overhear a grumble, try and go over and sort out the problem. That's part of being proactive. And always thank visitors for bringing a problem to your attention, especially in this new normal, because until we've been through this a few times, we won't know in our attractions what's working well and what's not working so well. So let our visitors then give us the feedback that we know so that we can create these perfect and great service journeys. As human beings, we respond differently when we're challenged and we're put under the cosh. Consider yourselves, how are you wired when under pressure, when you're dealing with an unreasonable request from a visitor, or for an emotional outburst from a visitor, or an emotional outburst from a colleague? Do you respond aggressively, passively, or assertively? Now, we know that the fight and take flight technique are very natural reactions. When we respond aggressively, we'll have a look at some of the responses in a minute. When we respond aggressively, behaviour breeds behaviour. We don't calm the situation down. We end up letting ourselves down. The situation can escalate, and before we know it, it gets out of hand. If you are more wired in the passive or more defensive type of nature, again, it could be more calm, and it might be that you don't contribute so much. But it's frustrating for the visitor because you're not demonstrating what needs to happen. You're not making anything happen by being passive. It tends to be a much more laid-back approach. Professionally, and what I like about this course is the first time that assertiveness has been brought into a customer service course in my experience. Being assertive is your get-out clause here. This is the key to success in challenging situations. For the next session, we're going to look then at the choice of responses that we could take when we're dealing with a situation. So I want you to really embrace this session and consider a situation where you've been. It could have been an email exchange, it could be a telephone exchange, it could be a face-to-face exchange, where you've been faced with a situation where you found the other behaviour really put you under pressure and made you feel extremely uncomfortable. This slide then describes some aggressive responses. We could use a lot more. The most important thing to recognise is that it's not a win-win situation, it's not elegant behaviour, it's never ever going to make things happen, and it's certainly not going to exceed visitor expectations, which is what this course is all about. We can sound aggressive in email by responding in block capitals and using exclamation marks and red and underline. On the telephone, it's more to do with volume and sounding perhaps nippy or sarcastic. And face-to-face, again, the body language will demonstrate aggressive responses. Typically, the shoulders will be squared back. The eyes might use a harder gaze. The jaw tense, there's tension in the jawline, and other hostile facial expressions. So it doesn't feel good, it doesn't look good, and it's certainly not what we would advocate as part of exceeding visitor expectations. Taking the other stance then of becoming passive and defensive in a situation where you feel under pressure, doesn't make anything happen either, and it can sound very feeble. We tend to over apologize, really over egg an apology. We also tend to speak in very quiet tones and not come up with any solutions. We don't use the COSA model, we don't compromise, we don't offer options, we don't offer solutions, we don't offer alternatives. We just accept it and nothing's ever going to happen. So it's frustrating for the visitor, it's frustrating for you because you don't feel good afterwards. And again, it's not a win-win situation because you've not created a solution and you've not created a constructive response that will make that customer feel good. So listed in this slide, we have some assertive responses. And assertive behaviour really means staying calm, because when we're calm, we're clever. Remaining composed, collected, concise, clear, courteous, all the C's. Being prepared to give your views, listening to the person's views, maintaining eye contact and using language that is positive, seeking a solution, always remaining courteous with that visitor and coming to a solution that works for both parties. Assertive responses, again, like everything in life, it's not always going to be ideal, it's not going to be perfect, but again, it's taking steps to let that visitor know that you're standing shoulder to shoulder with them to assist them rather than blocking any kind of compromise by being passive or aggressive. We're not born assertive. It is a skill that we have to practice, and there are various techniques that we can use. Again, if there's something that you want to know more about, I can certainly send you some more resources and highlight some responses that may be useful. An assertive response would typically start with I understand, I recognize, I realize, I acknowledge, then using however, and then letting the visitor know what you can do. Assertive responses tend to be positive, so at the end of an assertive response, that visitor is under no illusion about what you can and what you can't do. So again, if I were you in your teams, I would consider where in the attraction people are going to have a bit of a go at you. It might be that you have to close the coffee area, or you have to close certain rooms, or that certain of the objects are no longer you can't touch them. What are you going to say? How are you going to be prepared to say that in a non-threatening, non-authoritative way that still makes people feel good? And the secret here is letting people know what they can do in front of what they can't, and not sounding too dominant or too authoritative with it. If you want more information, please ask questions at the end of the seminar, and I'm happy to send you some further information on assertive responses. Being assertive is part of professionalism. It keeps you in control. It makes you feel empowered. And it's just a positive behaviour that if we all adopted it, we could get rid of complaints a lot faster and a lot slicker. It is said in customer service that feedback is the breakfast of champions. We are only as good as our visitors think we are. So again, in these changing times, in our new service offering, we will have to consider why it's important, first of all, to deal with positive comments and negative feedback. Well, actually, it'll identify areas where your attraction is performing really well, so that helps to motivate the team. But it also identify areas where improvement is required, and to accept that in the spirit that it's intended. We recognise that visitors will be very keen to give us feedback at this stage, particularly with regards to our social distancing policies and our hygiene policies. We will be very vigilant, and visitors will be checking up to see what's being done and what could be done better, but also what you're doing well. So feedback can be obtained from visitors in a number of ways. If you've been previously using comment cards, then we would get rid of them. We don't want to be using paper and pens at the moment. Remember, we don't want to touch anything if possible. So talking to them is going to be important. Online surveys, perhaps, or online review sites, social media posts. But really encourage your visitors to give you some feedback that will help you to exceed expectations and to continue your great work. and share that information. Share that information so that at your weekly briefs or your daily briefs, that you're incorporating that feedback, and that you, on a daily basis, particularly when we first open our doors later on this season, we recognise what's going down well and what has to be tweaked to accommodate our visitors. In this session, promoting your brand, promoting your attraction, we're going to ask you to consider yourselves as brand ambassadors for your attraction and your organisation, but also for the destination where your attraction is located. And well, what do brand ambassadors do? Well, they know their business, they know their product, they know their local area. They look the part, they look like they want to be there, they wear their uniform with pride, and they take responsibility. They take responsibility when they receive comments or feedback or complaints, and they make things happen with those comments and feedback. They are essentially enthusiastic. Enthusiasm can't be faked, it has to be really felt, and enthusiasm is contagious. If you can create enthusiasm in your visitor attraction, you create that high energy that is like a magnet to visitors. And then once we've created that enthusiasm amongst our visitors, we're in a position then to encourage them to return, to come back and see us later on in the year, to come back and check out the new exhibition, to come back and check out the leaves in the autumn, to come and check out what we're doing for the Christmas fair. And then go that extra mile by inviting them to become a member or to create a loyalty scheme. So promoting your brand is up to you. There are many, many things that you can be doing to make that visitor feel that they're in the right place at the right time because they've come to visit you. By delivering great service for your attraction, you can help create strong and positive brand awareness. And this brand awareness then can lead very nicely into what's known as secondary spend. All types of attractions need to generate income so that we can invest and grow the business or improve facilities and services. Some of you will charge for admission and some of you won't, but we can all encourage secondary spend. Now, some attractions have developed premium products and services which add value to visitor experience. For example, VIP tour or priority tickets, or it could be that you sell guidebooks. Are we still going to be selling guidebooks? Sales of gifts or vouchers could be very useful for oncoming season. Income from kiosks, if you operate kiosks, sale activities, tours, exhibitions, things like membership schemes and loyalty schemes, which we've already covered. So again, we'd like you to consider, where will the focus be on secondary spend, and how will you propose that to your visitor? No one wants to be pounced on by a salesperson or subjected to hard sell techniques. It's preferable to adopt a soft sell approach and attraction, using a process of identifying and meeting visitor needs by offering solutions. It's easy to concentrate on what you want to sell, but success is more likely to be achieved by concentrating on what visitors want to buy. People want to buy products and services that meet their needs and provide benefits to them. So during the sales process, it can help a lot by describing what we call fab statements, the features, the advantages, and the benefits. What's in it for the customer to buy this particular product? Let's say that the customer is looking at a tailored tour for there's two of them. So the feature of this that you could describe is that because it's a small tailored tour, that we can then accommodate their wants and needs. The advantages is that they'll be able to ask direct questions, again, that are included in their interests. The benefits there, that they will benefit from the shorter, more in-depth tour because they'll receive information that is relevant to their interests. In visitor attractions, we use three types of selling that are listed here in the slide. So link selling would be offering the visitor an additional item, link the main item under consideration. Let's say they come to a zoo and they want to see penguins, so you offer them the opportunity to watch the penguin parade. Cross-selling might be that you offer the visitor the chance to buy a soft toy penguin from the gift shop. Or an upselling could be that you offer the fact that they can then sponsor or foster a penguin. So again, linking your selling techniques and what you're selling to what that visitor has requested in the first place. Linking all in can really help with the sale. Be confident and positive. We're creating great memories. So if that visitor goes off having sponsored a penguin or having bought a soft toy and is happy with that, then that's successful. You've exceeded their visitor expectations. But don't be too pushy. Project the right image, establish rapport, ask questions. Use evidence to help convince the visitor. Give evidence of in the past how visitors have come back to you saying what a great purchase that was. And if people object or knock you back, don't worry about it. Overcome fears for rejection. Don't worry about being rejected. We will watch out for opportunities to maximise that revenue nevertheless. And thank the visitor whether they have got anything or not. Remember that being courteous in exceeding visitor expectations is one of the main things that we've considered throughout any of these sessions. In summary of this session, we have talked about product and destination knowledge and the importance of reviewing what there is around what we will be doing. We also talked about bringing your attraction to life, about telling stories and having authentic stories relating to the people. Throughout the conversation, we've discussed the importance of being proactive and linking that in with the Visit Scotland accreditation and what the quality advisors will be looking for. We then went into discussing complaints handling, and I gave you the learner model along with some information about how to be assertive when we're dealing with customer feedback and when customers are being demanding. And that led on to visitor feedback and how to deal with that in a way that's constructive and using that feedback then to perfect our operation on an ongoing basis and dealing with recurrent problems as soon as they occur. We then moved into Unit 7, which discussed about being a brand ambassador and being proud of where you work and demonstrating that, bringing the best versions of yourselves to work. And that when we are a brand ambassador and people believe in us, then we can in fact boost business by encouraging secondary spend and also looking at ways of link, cross and upselling in the attraction. It's now over to you. It's up to you. We will now be available for questions and answers. I trust that's been useful. I've enjoyed bringing these sessions to you online, and I'll look forward to hearing from you and answering any questions. Thank you for your attention and for your engagement, and I'll speak to you later. Bye for now.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Catherine. Yes, you'll be around for questions now. And you've given us so much to think about today. What does elegant behaviour look like? I think you can see now why this made for some lively conversation around the table at a live Eve course. So many stories coming to mind and so many to share and so many to learn from. But yes, perhaps a webinar today actually to pass to your teams to help equip them too. For me, the main things to remember was the acronym for interacting directly with customer complaints. You told us, Catherine, about COSA, C-O-S-A, compromise, offer them an option, offer them a solution and an alternative, and they go away feeling pleased with that. And also, you've given us so many tips on dealing with complaints constructively, turning them into a win-win for the visitor and the attraction and your team. And for us at Visit Scotland, the quality and tourism advisors, you know, for them, what does 5-star look like? There are 2 words that you must always remember. They're key for 5-star interactions, and the 2 words are personalization and proactivity. If you get those right, you'll be on to a winner for sure. I want to draw your attention to the 3 handouts that are available for you. Just go to the GoToWebinar panel and you'll see the wee tab that says handouts. You've got one from me at Visit Scotland called Exceeding Visitor Expectations Further Information, and that is the slide that you can see in front of you with our web addresses and my own email address if you'd like to get in touch and ask anything. But we've also added on to that some of the questions and answers that we weren't able to get around to last week. So of course, get your questions in just now. We'll have some time to answer them. But if we don't get around to everything today, we'll get in touch with you directly and post these on our website to visitscotland.org. We also have 2 handouts there from Catherine with additional information from the webinar today called Different Kinds of Complainers, and also top tips on how to deal with difficult situations. And so feel free to download those 3 handouts and keep them for your further use. And so, yeah, now is the perfect moment to get your questions in. We did have quite a few coming through last week, and as I say, we've created a Q&A page that will hopefully be of use. We've got Catherine online just now. We have Gordon Morrison, Chief Executive of ASFA, and myself at Visit Scotland. So get your questions into the 3 of us. And just for the next minute or 2, I'll hand over to Gordon. Gordon, is there anything you'd like to share with us today?
Thanks very much indeed, Angie, and a huge thank you to Catherine for another fantastic Exceeding Visitor Expectations session today. It's been great to run these sessions online. Catherine is an outstanding trainer, and I can say that as an Exceeding Visitor Expectations trainer myself. Catherine's a better Exceeding Visitor Expectations trainer than I am. It's been really interesting to run these courses online. They were designed specifically to be classroom sessions, so it's been a bit of a learning experience probably for us to take it online. But I think it's been a successful one, and it's great to see the number of people engaging with the Exceeding Visitor Expectations course online. We've probably reached out to way more people than we would have been able to had we maintained a classroom setting had the COVID crisis not have taken place. On the subject of the COVID crisis, I just quickly want to touch upon the fact that we're very conscious. We're talking here about exceeding visitor expectations and talking about reopening, what you can do to make your visitors happy when you reopen. I'm very conscious that a lot of attractions still have big concerns about being able to reopen and the financial viability in the short, medium and long term. This is something that ASFA are working hard to lobby the Scottish and UK governments on. We recognise that the support packages that have been put in place at the moment, whilst they are welcomed and they have benefited some, they have not got to the majority of our sector, and they've not done enough to ensure the long-term security of our sector. So we're working with the Scottish Government to try and ensure that we do get the packages that are going to be needed to preserve the attractions industry. It's important to emphasise that attractions are not just nice to have things. There is a feeling amongst some that, oh, well, if a visitor attraction was to go, what impact does that really have? Our sector are the custodians of Scotland's national culture and identity, and it's vital that our sector is maintained. To me, we offer as important a service as the banks do, and the banks weren't allowed to fail, so I don't think our sector should be allowed to fail too. One other final point that I will make is I'm conscious that a number of people at last week's call asked about community reassurance and their concerns about whether communities were going to welcome tourism back to tourists back to the local communities. Fully recognise that is going to be an issue. Indeed, that was an issue before COVID-19 hit. You know, we've all seen the posters and banners that people had put up in places like Luss saying tourists go home. There is a chance we're going to see more of that in the short term in particular. So it's hugely important that both industry and the government work together to change the hearts and minds of the local communities and to help communities understand just how important tourism is going to be in the recovery of the Scottish economy, but also how important tourism is in terms of the identity and culture of those very local communities. We are the custodians of that culture. So there's definitely some work to be done. I know the Scottish Tourism Emergency Response Group is looking and ASVA are very much feeding into that work as well. So that's just a few quick potted highlights from me, Angie, and I'll hand back to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Gordon. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of all the listeners today that we thank you for being a really strong voice for the industry at this time. A few comments coming in to let me know that the second handout for the Q&A for last week isn't working just now. Apologies for that. We will get it up on the VisitScotland.org website, and we'll also be able to share it through the likes of the ASVA newsletters so that you can get access to that as soon as possible. For now, I've got a question for you and then an invitation. So my question for you, it's an opinion poll really. And we just want to gauge appetite for another webinar. I'm just going to launch the opinion poll just now. If we were to organise a webinar on accessibility for the visitor attraction sector over the next few weeks, would you be interested in attending such a webinar? You can let us know that you would be interested, or maybe it's not a subject for just now, but you'd be interested in a few months or so. Yeah, well, a resounding popularity there. About 95% of listeners would find that webinar useful. So we will get to work on that for you. And we do have a whole host of other advice webinars, online articles, everything coming your way. So we really do want to hear from you what it is that would be of use at this time, and we will look to deliver that. And I know that ASVA feels exactly the same way about that as Visit Scotland does. So my invitation to you, I mentioned I had an invitation. I would love to extend the invitation to you to get in touch if you would like to talk directly with a quality and tourism advisor about anything at this time or in the coming few weeks. Our team is on hand to discuss the quality assurance grading scheme, perhaps if you're new to it or considering it, or of course anything pertaining to the award your attraction already holds. Or if you would like just a third party to talk through some of the ideas you might have for changing up your offering to complement social distancing, and you'd like to bat around some ideas with them, I would be happy to link you up with a quality and tourism advisor. So you can either put a comment in the questions sections to state your interest in a call with a QTA, and make sure you just mention the name of your attraction. That would be really helpful for me as well. Or use that email address there, angie.fowler@visitscotland.com, and I can help link you up to some more advice from our point of view. And yeah, I know some of the handouts are a bit tricky to download at the moment. We'll get those available to you, VisitScotland.org, alongside the recording of today's webinar and the past 2 weeks webinar as well. VisitScotland.org has also got a whole section on COVID-19 advice, which is continually updated with any new government guidelines available, including on environmental or health aspects. Anything that comes out in terms of reopening guidelines will be posted there as and when. And I know that you're all keeping a keen eye out for more information as and when it's available. So we don't have many questions coming through today. So
Angie, it's Gordon here. Do you mind if I come in then very quickly, just if there aren't any questions? I'm just wanting to come in with a quick plug, if you don't mind. Next week, next Thursday, ASVA are going to host our very first ASVA Members E Forum. The E Forum will take place on Thursday the 28th from 10 AM till 12 PM. And it's going to be a great opportunity for ASVA members to get together and hear from some of the leading lights in the industry. We've got a really good lineup, including actually Riddle Graham from Visit Scotland, who's going to give an overview of the Scottish Tourism Emergency Response Group Action Plan, which will be fascinating. We've got Lucy Castle, who's the CEO of Museums Galleries Scotland, who's going to talk about the COVID-19 impact on the museum sector, some of the challenges, and how the museum sector is coming through the crisis. We've also got Bruce Ritchie, Head of Operations at Edinburgh Zoo, who's going to give a fascinating presentation on how the zoo is readying itself for reopening. He's going to share a lot of practical hints and tips about their reopening guidelines, which I think will be hugely interesting. And then finally, we've also got Doug Lansky, who's a world-renowned travel writer, author, and destination development advisor, who's going to give the international perspective and look at the future of tourism in a post-COVID-19 world. It should be a really, really good session. So it's Thursday from 10 till 12. We will be sending an invite out later on today to the full ASVA database, but I just wanted to make that wee plug just now.
Absolutely, thank you for that. And we'll all be looking out for the ASVA emails coming through with anything else that will be on offer to us as well. One question that has just come through, if we are unable to open as quickly as other attractions, will our existing quality rating be affected? A good question there, and a resounding no, it will not be affected at all. The quality assurance grading scheme has always existed to give feedback and grading on the visitor experience, and we grade what is there to be experienced. The scheme is holistic in the way it doesn't penalise for what may not be there to experience. And of course, at this time, there are so many challenges facing the industry, including attractions that may not be able to open as quickly as others, or some that may wish to remain closed while they put measures in place. And of course, if you would like to speak to a quality and tourism advisor to help sound out some ideas on those measures, we are absolutely delighted to help in that way. Or even if you wanted to send around maybe some photographs or even videos, as some attractions have done over the past couple of weeks, for asking for our feedback on, we are happy to do that as well. But quality assurance gradings will not be affected for attractions that can't open. And of course, when they can open, the quality and tourism advisors will have in their minds all of the challenges that you're facing right now. And of course, their passion is to give you real-time feedback on what the visitor experience is. So if there's anything that is a bit clunky or a bit confusing for the visitor, they know that they can give you as attraction managers and team members that feedback in the hope that it can improve the visitor experience the next day or the next week, or whenever improvements can be made. So we'll look forward to helping in ways that are appropriate to the circumstances. So all of this to say, thank you so much for spending the time with us over the past 3 weeks. We hope these sessions have been really valuable for you and your teams. And we do thank you for your time, and we give thanks also to Catherine Bowie and Gordon Morrison as well. Thank you, everyone.